Hi guys, I am back. I know it's been a while, but I'm going to do a notebook comparison video today, which has been requested by a couple of people, particularly when I did my Dingbats notebook comparison of the Earth collection and the Wildlife collection. So I have collated a few A5-esque notebooks that I would use for bullet journaling. I have acquired all of these myself with my own money. They all take a slightly different variation on the A5 theme, I think it's fair to say, and they are all notebooks that I would genuinely consider or have used in the past for bullet journaling. So we have a Leuchtturm 1917, we have a Scribbles That Matter original doodle cover, we have a Rhodia Goalbook and a Dingbats Earth collection notebook. So I think the best thing to do is to start with the similarities. What is the same or similar about all of these notebooks? So all of them have an index, all of them have 2 ribbon markers, all of them have elastic closure, and all of them are dot grid notebooks. They all have an index and they all have a pocket at the back, which I'm sure you've seen from a lot of videos that are going around. So I'm going to start with the Leuchtturm because this is probably my go-to notebook most of the time. Has the name page, you have 3 index pages, the new ones have 2. There's been a slight change in the format. This is one of the older styles. The newer ones are kind of, they're based on the same format of the metallic ones that came out last year, and you can't really tell which one's the old format and which one's the new ones until you rip them open, so it's kind of a bit annoying. Anyway, this one has 249 numbered pages. I think the new ones have 251. I count my dots by squares, so each pair is a square. So it's 26 across and 38 top to bottom, which works quite well. You have got, as I said, the pocket at the back, envelope pocket I believe it's called. I know a lot of people complain about the ghosting on the pages. It doesn't bother me at all. I like the feel. I like the fact that they are nice. They're quite soft pages as you turn them. You will probably know as well that I've kind of used pretty much every other size Leuchtturm. So I used a B6 over the summer. I'm currently in a B5, and I've used the A4 Master Slim, I've used the A6, and I've even got a tiny pocket one in my mini Foxy Fix. So I do have a lot of Leuchtturm notebooks. I feel like the paper differs between the sizes. I would say the paper in the A5 and the A6 and the pocket, the micro one, is slightly thinner, slightly, I don't know, coated differently, whatever. The paper in the B6 and the B5 I think is slightly better and is my favourite, and then in the A4 it's almost like cardstock, the way it feels. It's quite heavy and quite robust, which works quite well when you're doing lots of notes and things. So this is one of my favourites. The first one I ever had was actually a purple one, which is why I picked up a purple one again, because it's been a while and I've only ever used one purple one. So there we go. So I'm just going to work down the pile now. So we have Scribbles That Matter. So the Scribbles That Matter comes in the Pro and the original. The Pro has a plain soft cover and then has like some printed icons along the bottom here, whereas the original one has doodles. And I believe the doodles have changed over time. So the pastel colours were a newer addition long after the original colours came out. It does have a pen loop. The pen loops now have a metal stud fixing them in place. Originally they were just glued in, and I know one of mine came out. Now I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Scribbles That Matter notebooks. I like them, I start using them, and then I'm like, I don't like using this notebook, and I cannot tell you why. So this one actually I bought for work and then never used. So you have your kind of belonging to when you started it. You then have a bullet code, a colour code, and then you have 3 index pages as well. And then you go straight into the dot grid pages. So this has this has 201 pages dot grid. I believe the older ones used to have less. I think they've got more in now. And again, if you're doing dots by squares, it's 26 across like the Leuchtturm, but only 37 up the page, and then again at the back you get the pocket as well. You also get the pen testing page in this, which you've probably had a little sneak peek at. I'm going to talk about pen testing in a moment, so we will come back to that one. The Rhodia Goalbook. Now, I have never picked this up. I've never really thought about getting this as a notebook, and this was actually one of the ones that was kind of requested. You don't see as much about this as a used notebook for bullet journaling. I know Helen from Journal with Purpose uses a Goalbook as her go-to notebook, and one of the things I like about it, unsurprisingly, is the orange. We all know I like a bit of orange. So it has orange cover, it has a nice big pocket at the back. This is a soft cover, and I believe it only comes in soft cover. And this is not necessarily the colour I would have chosen anyway, but this was on offer on Amazon in just this colour, so I was like, I'm going to pick it up. So you get your kind of name page, you get 4 contents pages, I think. No, you get 6 contents pages. I always get that wrong. Then you have like a perpetual calendar of everything for 12 months. And then you get like a predetermined future log page. And then you get the numbered pages starting. So I kind of like the fact that all of that is separate to the numbered pages. It has 224 pages, if you include the back there. They are all numbered. Now the squares, the dots on this, I did write this down because I always get this wrong, it's 28 across, and if you go from the very bottom to the very top, it's 40. But as you can see, the numbers take out a chunk on the bottom, so if you're going as far as the numbers do, then it would be 38. The paper on this feels really lovely, and I think it will fit up quite nicely. I am worried a little bit about the beating it would take in my bag though. I've just got this gut feeling that it may not last amazingly well, but I could be wrong. And then last of all, we've got the Dingbats Earth collection notebook. Now, this is the lime one. They have 3 colours, each of which represents a certain national park. So this one is the Yasuni National Park, the orange one is the Serengeti, I think, and then the blue one is the Great Barrier Reef. I think, I don't have that information for certain, so please don't quote me on that. The elastic on this is really nice and soft, and I like the black as a contrast, particularly on this cover. It's also a little bit further in from the end than the others, so it doesn't feel like it's going to slip off easily. You do have the pen loop. You also have 2 ribbon markers. That's my phone, and I'm just going to pause and answer it because I think it's my mum. That was indeed my mother, so it's a good job I answered it. Anyway, what was I saying? This notebook, I really like the contrast of the black with the lime. Now, originally you will have seen me do an orange notebook, and I did set that up to use, and then I had a bit of an accident with some orange juice, and orange juice is a killer for paper because it kind of makes it do weird things. But anyway, this notebook has a lot of features that are very different to a lot of other notebooks, which I quite like. So first of all, you get the cover page with the link of, you know, what the park is. You get the little nameplate. It gives you an info page about the journal and the different things that are in there. And it has a tab key. Now the tabs, you can probably see here, it looks like the pages are lined when you look at the side of the notebook, but it has tiny little sort of almost half circles down the sides of every page for you to colour in, so you're colour coding the sides of your page. I know some people do it with stickers, and people have done similar things in the past, but this has a set space for you to do it. And then you can have a key for what each of those tabs means, which I think is a really cool feature. You have a colour coding section, you have your sort of, they call it a dingbat key, but it's kind of how you do your bullets in your bullet journal, I suppose. And then again, you have 3 index pages, and then you have a page that's designated for your future log with different markings for how you might like to lay out your future log page. And it has 2 of those. I forgot that. It has 2 of those, and then it goes in straight into the pages. The numbers on these I think are cool but a bit weird as well. So they each have like their own little circle, and as you go through the notebook they get they just take up a bit more space, so it's kind of keeping that circular bullet effect but being a bit different. The pocket at the back on this one I think is quite nice because it's not quite as close to the spine, so it's easier to put things in and out. And this has 184 pages, and I love the feel of the pages, and I think I bought the orange one originally because we all know I like a bit of orange, but I really like the lime. It's sort of like a yellowy lime, it's quite nice. So that's those. Now I talked about pen testing. So my pen testing I have done in advance, as you've probably noticed my right hand is in this. So writing at the moment has been challenging. I did most of this before I actually ended up in this, even though I was having problems. And all I've done is kind of use pens that I use a lot to create a pen testing page, and it's all quite similar. Since doing this bit of it and my little sort of coloured section at the bottom, I've discovered that I have to make some radical changes to these sorts of writing implements that I use. So at the moment I'm kind of flicking between these two as my current okay ones, and I've just done a little highlighter test over them as well. So all the black pens that I normally use, my highlighters and felt tips that I use, and then these 3 pens are notorious for bleeding, and I use them quite a lot, so I just wanted to test those to see how it went. Now the one thing I will also say before I show you all the pen testing pages is I have discovered that even though you do your pen testing page in one notebook, if you get exactly the same brand, it's still worth doing the pen testing, because there can be differences just between the batch of that were made, the printer, the paper, whatever. Little things make a difference, and also when you get a new version of the same pen. So yeah, it does vary. So this one I was really impressed with. The board liners I really like, but I found that they can bleed quite a lot. But I was really pleased to see that they didn't, and my new pens I'm very happy don't. You can barely see anything from the felt tips, and even these sort of like that I know are common for bleeding, a tiny bit through there, but it's not enough that it would upset me or distress me. So I was really pleased with that one. And the Rhodia as well is kind of similar. So gone through same sort of structure. You will see I do this all in the same sort of way, and again I mean this is possibly even better paper quality. So I have heard great things about this notebook, and I can kind of see why some people use it. I'm still uncertain. I think I am going to use this or my Dingbats as my next bullet journal. We'll see. The Scribbles That Matter, as I said earlier, has a dedicated pen testing page, and it even says at the beginning, to avoid ruining your new journal, try out all new pens on the pen test page at the end. So you have a page here, which is just like a plain page. If I can actually open my notebook, there we go. There's a plain page to do whatever you want. There's a little bit more bleed through down here, a little bit more ghosting. But I mean, the ghosting doesn't bother me, it's the bleed through that bothers me. They're two different things. And then last of all, the Leuchtturm. Now I know a lot of people have a bit of an issue with the ghosting and things. So this smudged just because I was too quick, and I know exactly why that smudged, but that's not a problem. Same pens, and then there's a lot more ghosting coming through. This doesn't bother me because by the time you've written over it, it doesn't matter too much. And actually the bleed through here, there isn't any really. There is ghosting, but there's not a lot of bleed through, so it's kind of interesting to see. But I know in the past, like, these pens have properly bled through the page. So like I said, I would always test pens in every notebook I get. It's just what I do. So those are the notebooks that I have shared with you today. As I said, you know, I do keep coming back to Leuchtturm. I have used a couple of Scribbles That Matter. I did use a moleskin at one point, and I would not recommend that to anybody. But that was mainly for the size rather than anything else. I think it's fair to say I am looking forward to using this. This could be a contender for my next bullet journal, which I'm looking to set up shortly for November. I'm intrigued to give this a go, but I have a few reservations, so it might just sit on the shelf for a little while, or it might just get used as a work bullet journal rather than sort of my day-to-day sort of thing. As I said, Scribbles That Matter I have a love-hate relationship with. I look forward to using them. They make me smile as notebooks, and I start using them and I'm always a little bit like, oh, really? I'm not sure I'm not sure I want to use this notebook. The only one of theirs I really enjoyed using was the A4, and they've stopped doing that. So who knows what will happen with my journey with Scribbles That Matter. And as I said, I keep coming back to Leuchtturm. I just like the colours, I like the simplicity, and I like the size options. There's some really nice sizes available. So that's my little comparison of those notebooks. I hope that was useful in some way. If you've got any questions or anything about any of the notebooks I haven't covered, please leave them below and I will try and answer them when I can. Hopefully some form of a normal filming schedule will be happening soon. How that will look given this, I don't know. I don't know if I've even mentioned this. This is something called To Curvins, and it's a long-term thing. It's not going to go away anytime soon. I'm just going to make some adjustments, so that's going to impact on how you see me film, I think, certainly for a couple more weeks while I'm adjusting to everything. So that's it for now, really, guys. As I said, I hope that was useful. I'm going to try and get back to you with some form of November planning video of some description in the next few days as well. And in the meantime, happy planning.